It's time to geek hard or go home. The podcast is real. Here's your host, Grounded Geek.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. It is Sunday night. That means it's time for the podcast is real. Turn that music down loud. We're so glad that you could be with us here tonight. We've got a great show for you. Great guests. We're going to be talking about a new science fiction audio podcast that is out right now, and it is really good. So I can't wait to talk to you guys about that. And we're going to talk to some of the creators here on the show tonight. But as always, I can't do this show by myself. So please welcome Aaliyah and what's that other guy's name? Utah. There he is.
I don't know. Hey. Greetings, programs.
What's up, guys?
Hi. I am not a person that likes a naked phone, and so I finally found a case.
Well, this is a family-friendly show, so we want to...
Oh, I'm sorry. A scantily clad phone? That's worse, isn't it? That seems worse, doesn't it? Yeah, you're right. You're right, JT. That's worse. Anyways, I finally found a case from Casetify. They're doing a collab with Lucasfilm, and here is the case for the case. And
so yeah, the case for the case is the best part.
The case comes with a case, and what's nice is that I don't know if you can see the sticker.
Is it like limited edition? What does it say?
It is. It says
Never tell me the odds. Love it.
Yeah, and so this is 1 out of 1,000, and so let's pump it out here, and here it is. The aluminum.
Wow. The aluminum Falcon.
The aluminum Falcon.
That's actually aluminum. That's pretty cool.
It is aluminum.
It's very solid.
It is very solid.
Is it heavy?
It's aluminum. It's very light.
Okay. I don't know.
But
like aluminum foil.
The one thing though that I didn't think about was that because it's metal, it's not MagSafe compatible.
Oh.
So now I have to rethink. Oh, wait. I'm so silly and such a sucker. I went ahead and got one that is MagSafe compatible.
So how many phones do you have?
I have one phone and two Millennium Falcon cases now.
Well, there you go. Yeah, we could switch them out when you like whatever mood that you're in, right?
There you go. I had never thought of that, but yes, I can switch them out. One day, if I want to hit somebody over the head and have a weapon in my hand, I'll get the metal one. Otherwise, I'll get this nice soft one here. So
nice.
I'm gonna go.
I have this iPhone. Like, what is a MagSafe? Like, I keep hearing this. Am I not using my phone correct?
Oh, I'm sure you're using it correctly. MagSafe is just it's got a circle of magnets on the back. Here, you can see on the back of here. These are the magnets, and it just gives a better connection with your case to the phone. Also allows you to use MagSafe chargers and different.
You just set the phone down on top of it, and it'll charge. You don't have to plug it in.
And what's nice is that because of the magnets, it auto aligns.
We broke Aaliyah.
So you don't. Is her connection frozen? Is she frozen?
No.
For a minute.
No, I'm here.
You can also get like car mounts that have the magnets and just go click, and your phone will stick without having to like put it in a holder or put like that. Yeah. What is that kind of gummy slime
which
stuff?
Which iPhone do you have, Aaliyah?
I have the Pro Max. I have the newest.
Which one? 12, 13?
13.
17, 28?
Yeah,
you have a Pro
13.
Max?
Yeah. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, 13 Pro Max.
You got the big boy.
That's
I have. Yeah, it's a very large phone, but what I don't understand, I'm just feeling like I'm not using it to its fullest.
Well,
capacity.
you can get a special charger and you set it on there, and you don't have to plug it in. Like you just lay it down on the charger.
It's wireless charging with a magnet.
It's pretty cool.
Wow. Okay.
I don't have one either. I don't have the mag. I do have a QI charger. It does the same thing, but it's not MagSafe. But so I do drop it on there to charge. But my case is cool because if you look really carefully, it's got a little. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got this little.
What is that? Like a clip thing?
Oh, it's got
so it holds
lens thing, right?
Yeah, it holds my
lens.
Like telephoto lens.
Anamorphic. I have an anamorphic film, lens
nice.
that I use on my phone, so I can actually take film like footage. Pretty cool.
Wow.
Can you do lens flares too?
Oh, it does lens flares. Yeah, it's really cool. Like it does it.
JJ would be proud.
That anamorphic. I don't have to put him in. I don't have to put him in.
You don't have,
like he does.
you don't have to do it in post.
Yeah, exactly.
I am not using my phone to its fullest capacity.
Yeah, to be fair, Leah, none of us are. We're using this to talk to people and text people and take pictures.
I barely text. Okay.
This is like 1,000 million times more powerful than like the computers on the space shuttle. So I mean, so none of us are using the full phone.
That's true. We're using it to binge Ozark's final season, which I don't know if you guys are Ozark watchers.
Yeah, I'm concerned because I've heard bad things about the finale, so I'm gonna watch it to hold off till I find.
I mean, I love the show. It's fantastic. And,
yeah.
But I wasn't super pleased with the final episode. I thought it was kind of a dud compared to how awesome the rest of the seasons were.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, but I haven't watched it yet. So,
and if you didn't like the ending of The Sopranos, you won't like this one. Not because it's the same, but I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying it's.
How did they get to that diner? No, I'm just kidding.
There are elements that are it plays "Don't Stop Believing" over it. It does. No, I'm just kidding.
And then it just fades to black, and you hear.
There's one element that's very much like it, and then there's other stuff that happens that I'm just kind of like. I for one like the Sopranos ending, though. I have my own interpretation of what happened there, but that's a whole other.
I honestly don't have an issue with the Sopranos ending. I don't know why people are so bad.
It was interesting. It was different, but yeah, I was mad at how things turned out in this one. Like I felt like they built up this stuff that never really kind of
had a resolve.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And there's still a lot of loose ends, which we don't need loose ends on a series finale, in my opinion. There's a lot of things I'm sitting here going, well, what about this person? And what about those people?
They're just setting us up for the spin-off in 2 years.
Probably, yeah. I would watch it.
And it's
I love the show.
And it's going to follow Jason Bateman's character as he moves away from the Ozarks to Poughkeepsie.
Okay, so I haven't seen Ozark, although everyone keeps talking about it. So
it's a great show.
Recommend.
It's really good.
Okay.
Right. If you like Breaking Bad,
I was going to say
Breaking Bad.
It's a similar genre.
In the woods.
Yeah. Breaking in the woods.
Yeah, I mean it's not meth. It's totally different, but it's about like how good people can go very, very bad. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when be corrupted, and it's just it's fascinating,
especially
really
in the Ozarks,
and the acting
which is why I don't go there.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, the acting
Jason Bateman
fantastic.
is so good, and Julia Garner, I want to say is her name, Ruth. She is phenomenal. Like she's a star. She's going to be huge.
Going to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's already huge in my opinion. She's brilliant on Ozark. She was in that movie or that limited series Inventing Anna, which is crazy because it's a totally different character than Ozark. You wouldn't even know it was her. Like she's so different. It's just she's a really good actress. So.
I saw that. I really wanted to watch it.
I figure if I butter her up enough in this and say how awesome she is, somehow she'll come on the show. That's what
she is watching.
That's what I figure.
Yeah,
of course.
Well, Jason told her about us. So
Jason Bateman on the show, I would pee my pants. That would be awesome.
Now that's on record, Jeff.
I know.
The internet never forgets.
I know. So now I will have to follow through.
Yes, you would.
I feel like Jason would ask. I feel like Jason would be like, "So, Jeff."
Yeah.
So I want to find out from both of you. So there's a new movie that came out on this weekend, which everybody this past weekend. Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange in the Mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
did everybody see it yet?
No.
Okay.
Saw it yesterday.
So I seen it. We're going to be talking about it on the Shawarma Shack on Wednesday. So Aaliyah, you've got 3 more days.
Okay, guys.
Are you not going to make it? Did you say you were not going to make it to this one?
No, I'll make it. I just I've heard very bad reviews about the movie.
So you have to go see it for yourself.
Well, then
and I don't want to. We're not going to ruin any of the things we're going to talk about because we're not going
to talk about Doctor Strange not being in it.
So
I will
stop.
I was very surprised at who his mom was. That's for sure.
I love how Multiverse of Madness released on Mother's Day. Mom released Mother's Day weekend. It was kind of a genius.
I feel like they did that
on purpose.
I feel like they did that on purpose.
They did.
Yeah. So that's Wednesday night. So I want to make sure everybody knows that that's happening. Shawarma Shack. We have our special episode, Doctor Strange.
Oh, I will say one thing that's not very spoilerish though. A friend of ours that was at our wedding all 20 some odd years ago showed up on the screen while we were watching the movie, and Karen's like, "What?" And she looked it up, and it was actually our friend Akko Mitchell. So
awesome.
Kudos to you, Akko. I'm so glad to see that he's canon in the MCU.
Yeah, and it was like a significant role for a scene there. Like it wasn't just like, he got to hug Rachel McAdams. That's true, but we won't say who he was because we don't want to say what happens in the movie because
right. Don't worry, Leah. Lots of people hug Rachel McAdams in this movie. So
it's true.
It's not really anything. We didn't spoil anything.
Even Ryan Gosling shows up to hug her.
Right.
Crazy.
All of a sudden, he has a notebook, and
it's the multiverse, right? Anything can happen. But
that's exactly right.
No, it was he wasn't just random dude
walking down the street
in the background, right?
No, he wasn't like wedding guest number 3,
yeah,
which is what I would be. I'd be like, and then I would get cut from the film.
I would be lucky to be wedding guest number 3.
That's so cool. And he was at your wedding?
Yeah, well, yes. We know him. We consider him a friend. We haven't talked to him in a while though because him and his wife got divorced.
I thought he maybe gave you a really terrible gift for your wedding, and you're like, we're not talking to him anymore.
Well, yeah, he gave us a little a letter and saying, hey, and this autograph will be worth something whenever.
And now,
and of course, we're like pshaw and threw it out, and so now we're like, well, that shows us. But it was crazy to see the scene, to watch the movie, watch the scene progress, and go,
That's neat.
It was so weird.
That? What is that from? Home Improvement.
Yeah, that did sound a little bit like
more power.
Sorry.
So you're gonna have to talk to him and see if he can come on. We'd love to hear about his experience.
I will certainly reach out to him now. Say, hey, Akko, you were at our wedding and we haven't talked, but I saw you on the big screen. Hey, let's talk. Yeah. He's done a lot of voices in video games over the years, so that's.
We'd love to talk to him. That'd be fun.
So that's really cool.
I'll certainly reach out.
All right. Well, we have a great show for everybody tonight. So there's anybody who has listened to us before knows that I love audio drama podcasts. I love this genre. We're actually working on, have been for a year now. It's gonna happen, I promise. Our little hybrid drama / film discussion show.
Oh, that's right.
Which will be hopefully in the fall. So we're gonna be we have 3 more episodes this season, and then we will be taking a break over the summer. And then over the summer, I figure we could try to record some of the episodes we've been talking about and actually get them done so that we have a bunch in our pocket when we actually launch instead of,
So they're in the can and we can launch them.
We're not recording this show, right? So we'll still get together a couple times and record some of the other ones. So that'll be fun. But
sure.
Yeah, so we've been teasing that for a while.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
But it's going to happen. What's that?
Oh, I said I don't know what I'm gonna do with my Sunday evening.
We're gonna record this show. That's what we're gonna
instead of doing this podcast really live, we're gonna record whatever audio drama we thought we were going to do. All those years ago.
So it's finally gonna. I swear it'll happen. But anyway, I love audio drama. I used to listen to LPs of like old classic shows that my dad would pick up and stuff.
Old radio plays, yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff. We had on vinyl the whole War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells,
nice,
Orson Welles, the actual recording. Yeah. I listen to that all the time. It was just so great.
It's not real, Jeff. Don't worry, it's not real.
Oh, I hope not. Yeah, after all this time, I'm still waiting, but it hasn't happened.
Well, I mean, I haven't gone to New Jersey ever since I listened to them. I just
right.
Avoid that area.
I feel like everyone avoids New Jersey. Like anyone that's from like, sorry, is that mean?
That's we have a good friend of the show, a couple of good friends of the show live there, so we don't want to go there. Sorry, T. We
don't listen to me. I know nothing.
Well, according to Hamilton, everything is legal in Jersey. That's all I know.
Everything is legal in Jersey.
Jersey.
That's why you go across a river.
Yep. But love audio dramas and listen to several of them. We've had some audio drama folks on the show earlier in the season.
Yes.
In fact, our guests tonight are familiar with this person. I don't know if they even know that he's been on the show. We're going to talk to them about that too. But the show is currently the number one science fiction audio drama on podcast right now. And number two, I think in sci-fi in general, I don't know, they'll correct me, something like that. Anyway, it's, considering that we don't even chart anywhere on the thing, that's pretty amazing anyway, right?
Don't we chart in India?
We do. Well, it's the show that we've been teasing. Oh, we have those episodes. They love us in India. It's huge. And that's I know, right? We're in the top 50, I think, at one point. It was ridiculous.
I feel like that's a song. Big in India.
Yeah, we're big. Yeah.
How does it go?
I
don't know.
Let me find out, JT.
Sorry.
Let me find a ukulele.
So the name of the show is Solar. It has an all-star cast. I mean,
it does.
It does. Helen Hunt. I mean, Oscar-winning Helen Hunt, right? Like, Helen Hunt is in this show.
Who?
Helen Hunt.
Helen Hunt?
Stephanie Beatriz, who is from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and also most recently in Kanto.
Yeah.
Which is, I always say her name wrong. Mirabelle? Marisol? What's her name? Jacob corrects me every time I say it wrong. And in Kanto.
Marisol.
What's her name?
Marisol.
Maribel, right?
Maribel.
Okay, I'm getting nods from the green room, so I think I'm right. Anyway, Stephanie Beatriz, immensely talented. She's in it. Alan Cumming. There's lots of big stars. Yeah, he's awesome. So, but it's really, really great. It's a very exciting kind of drama. Things are breaking down. The audio is phenomenal. We're going to listen. Yeah, we're going to listen to the trailer here if I can get it to work. And so we have to be quiet because I'm not going to mute everybody. But let's see if we can listen to the trailer and then we'll bring them on.
Solar from Kurtco Media.
NASC located the Aethon 2 days ago.
I don't hear anything.
Did it start out hearing something and then you?
Yeah, it started and then.
That's what it was. All right, here we go.
Solar from Kurtco Media.
NASC located the Aethon 2 days ago. However, we have not established contact.
What was that?
I do not detect any abnormalities.
The lights are getting brighter. Is the electricity overloading?
Everything is nominal.
What are the odds of survival for the Aethon crew?
We won't speculate on those circumstances. I'm sure you can understand.
Solar, a fully immersive sonic adventure with revolutionary sound from Dolby Atmos.
Incoming message from Jamal.
Accept.
Rush! It's coming into the airlock! Get away from the airlock! Hurry!
Starring Academy Award winner Helen Hunt.
If we deviate from the plan even by an hour, we lose everything.
Tony Award winner Alan Cumming.
I'm simply not willing to risk the lives of any crew members for the sake of an experiment.
Stephanie Beatriz.
I'm gonna save you, Jamal.
And Jonathan Bangs.
One problem at a time, Ren.
Solar. Shadows are darker this close to the sun. Available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Had to put Utah in timeout there. I apologize. But yeah, we finally got the audio working. Please welcome to the show, Jenny Curtis and Chris Porter, the creators of Solar. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
So I told Chris before the show started, we're no strangers to technical difficulties here. And that was so obviously that didn't work. But obviously the audio went out the second time. It depends
Jeff,
on
I'm right here.
I'm
right here. Don't call me a technical difficulty. That's horrible.
Oh, well, we won't go there.
Well, I thought it was Utah's fault.
It could have been.
Oh, of course.
Yes, we'll blame Utah. That's what we do. Guys,
technical difficulties are very in line with our show, so I feel like it was just a really great way to set this up.
It's just part of the promo.
Fortunately, our technical difficulties are not as life-threatening as what's going on in the show. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about Solar? Give people a little teaser of what the plot is. What can we expect?
So Solar is about this close orbit spacecraft that is trying to study some weird things about the sun. And it happens to be right in the way when a gigantic solar flare overloads the ship and tears it in half. And it's a solar flare that is also heading straight towards Earth when it gets sent, which means that not only are the astronauts who have survived on different parts of the ship trying to communicate with each other and trying to help each other, but they're also desperately trying to reach Earth, and they're not even sure who on Earth would be able to respond in the event of a solar flare of that size. So it's very much a story of survival, but also it's unraveling this mystery of what was happening on board the spacecraft prior to the flare. Because there's competing companies, there's secrets, there's confidential experiments happening. So there's a lot to unpack, and the more you unpack it, the more interesting and intriguing it becomes.
Yeah, and there is a lot going on. There's I think I only am through episode 5 so far.
Got it.
And listening, and
Good to know.
so far,
No
I was going to say there's about 8 or 9 out right now. Correct?
Yeah. 9 comes out on Tuesday, I think. So when this comes out,
same day.
Hey,
and there are 12 episodes total.
Thank you. That was what I was going to ask.
That was the next question.
Can we expect?
Yep.
In the whole thing.
But we also do, in addition to the episodes, there's what we have.
You got little snippets.
Recovered audio assets.
Yeah.
That give you little glimpses of what's happening back on Earth, because that's half of the mystery in and of itself.
Yeah, it's great. I love it, and the
it's
audio.
a great setup.
The audio is so well produced. You remind people to put their headphones on, because really, I don't know. In my headphones, when I was listening to the trailer, it was coming out of and even the trailer we just listened to was popping out of different ears.
I love the warning, because you guys put a warning in front of the trailer, right? If you're driving, don't be surprised if you hear something behind you or
right.
Better safe than sorry. Yeah.
That's right. No, that's perfectly. That makes perfect sense. I love the use of, I guess, for lack of a better term, spatial audio that you guys. I've only listened to episode 1, so I'm way behind. But
loser, not a real fan.
We had this sound designer, CJ Dremmeler, and he used a combination of Deer VR. Mixing technology, which uses virtual reality type stuff, along with Dolby Atmos, which specializes in placing it in surround sound. Wow. So we were able to literally block scenes and have characters moving around and say, hey, the door is 8 feet in this direction, and this person's here. And so then it can get reduced down to a binaural experience, since people will just have them on headphones. But if we do have versions that if anyone has a surround sound, you would be able to actually hear it in a movie theater setup if you ever wanted to.
All right, mental note.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be a thing where we'll watch podcasts in movie theater,
like a listening party.
An XD, right?
Jeff,
Cinemark.
How do you watch a podcast, Jeff?
You know what I'm saying. You go there and you watch the logo on the screen. Hey, people just watched us listening to it. So
they watched you listening to it.
That's because you were misbehaving, and I had to make sure
I was here too.
You didn't distract from people's enjoyment of it.
It's all.
I was just enjoying it like our listeners would be enjoying it.
I know. So tell us a little bit about how the idea came about. Like, when did this start? Like, how did it come to fruition?
So the initial thought I had is I just was curious about writing an audio drama because they're significantly cheaper than a movie to produce, but I wanted to like explore the medium and like really use sound because I actually have a background in music and sound design. So in doing that, I'm a big fan of science fiction, and I started thinking of all the stories that we see of people going out to find other things, to colonize other worlds, to explore other stars on the edge of the universe. And I was like, what if we actually like went in and did some exploring and consideration of the sun? And that's where the kernel of the idea started, with the broken ship somewhere around in close orbit to the sun, having to deal with something so large with such small, frail people. And from there, that's where the characters started coming and developing. And it was around that point when I only had the characters of Ren, Jamal, and Allie, where I was like, hey, Jenny, would you please do this thing with me? Would you please voice Allie, and also help me direct and produce this thing, and we can do this project together.
Yeah. And so, Jenny, you're the voice of the AI, right?
I am.
Yeah. Oh no! It was Allie. It
was Allie all along.
No, which I love because you would think a character like AI would not have like any personality whatsoever, right? I mean, it's supposed to be robotic, but Allie is like has
a personality.
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
she's got.
Allie is like probably like one of the best characters on there. I love some of the misunderstandings. No, I'm serious. Like some of the things
I love it.
People, when they're the whole deal with them trying to get her to call them different names and things like that. Like I was cracking up laughing at some of that stuff.
It's so fun. And Chris did that very purposefully. How can you develop a personality in an AI that's not like, okay, they're in the future. Obviously, she can have a personality and whatever. How do we make this grounded and realistic? But it's so funny because early on, we were talking to people about casting, and somebody like big in the industry said to us, like, okay, I could see like going for this star for this role and this star for this role, but obviously, like nobody's going to want to play Allie. No actor wants to play that role. And at that point, Chris and I just kind of looked at each other and we're like, what do you mean no one wants to play Allie?
What?
You like her?
I like her a lot.
She does things. It's cool.
But yeah, I love Allie. I think she's a super fun character to play. A lot harder than I anticipated.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to have less emotion for me. I'm a very I'm a very emotional person, you guys.
Not expressive at all. No.
No.
There are when you listen to the show, something that we use to establish not only that the ship is broken, but like how the ship is geographically laid out, is that after the ship has been blown in half, she's stuck doing these temperature reads of every capsule in sequence. So you'll hear her like 2 capsules away be like, capsule 3 temperature is this, and capsule 2 temperature is this, like getting closer to you. And it's not super important that you hear it for the plot, but we had to record each and every one because each and every one of those temperature recordings had to be unique and changing. So she had to just stand there and record over and over again, like capsule 3 temperature is blah, blah, blah in Fahrenheit and blah, blah, blah in Celsius. And it was just like, it was this weirdly hypnotic, frustrating experience.
Yeah.
Both hate and love the temperature readings. Do we have to do another one of these?
Yep.
But just to circle back, because we meander a lot, and you did ask how this project developed. So I just wanted to add, so Chris joined the company, Kurtco Media, which is the production company of this show. And him joining the company, the plan was solar. But we then years in process and the production process and all of that. So going on, and we focused on some talk shows and whatever, but the whole time the actual focus behind the scenes was like, how can we best possible cast? And so we spent a lot of time doing workshops. We spent a lot of time bringing actors into our apartments and having them read scenes with us so that we could get the real feel of the language.
And we wouldn't
reads.
Sorry, I thought she was
I was going
to say we wouldn't always
meltdowns. Yeah.
Lots of meltdowns. Meltdown imminent is a line in the show, and it became a rallying cry.
It's my favorite line.
all I was gonna say is that like we wouldn't always tell all the actors that we were having read stuff. We wouldn't tell them what the plot was, so that way at the end we could quiz them and be like, "What's happening? Like, are you understanding the story that's being told without the visuals?"
I love doing
really
table
important.
reads. I
That's
love
clever.
doing workshops. I just want to say it's really funny that Chris, you put it in the terms of like quizzing, because that's not how I view it at all. That's a very scary process. Excuse me.
Now the pressure's on.
Tell us what you know.
Right, that's right. Now that we've done the scene, what do you remember of it?
It was very informal, but I would still mine them for information.
Mine them.
It's very
That's
much
hilarious.
like, what did you get from it, and where do you think this is going, and how does this make you feel, and how do you process the scene that we just went through, and where did it feel false to you? Because we wanted every moment of this show to feel very real in its psychosis.
Yeah.
Now, how do you go about getting some of the actors that you have on the show? Like, was there a casting? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, we started with a casting director who Mormon Bowling Casting we worked with initially, and they got us Stephanie Beatriz. And from there, the casting process is long and slow. And so for the rest of it, we ended up kind of doing it ourselves. But we did go for the big names. We went and just offered the role to these actors, and crossed our fingers and hoped that they would read the script, because if they read the script they would love it because it's so good. And so when we got the yeses, we were always really surprised, but also like, of course they said yes. Who wouldn't want to be in this show? But that was the big, like the star names that you see on the tile art and all of that. James, who's our other lead, we actually we worked with him prior to podcasting. Chris and I are in a immersive theater company together called the Speakeasy Society, and we worked with John there. So, from the beginning, we wanted John to be the role of Jamal, and he was one of these actors who would come to all these table reads and come workshop in my apartment and all of these things. And so, there is no one as full of their character as John is of Jamal, because he really developed this story with us and drops into that role so amazingly. And the rest was, normal casting process. We put out breakdowns, we had auditions, we had our friends audition, we had strangers audition, and we just tried to find the right people for the roles.
Yeah. And so then how does production begin? Did everybody come in and record separately? Was there any kind of like did anybody record with each other? Because there's conversations that take some of it doesn't matter because they're so separated anyway, it works out probably.
Right. And then some of it is very together. Everybody had to record separately, first because that's the best way to get clean audio, but also we did this in the middle of the pandemic, so safety wise it had to be separate. So everyone except for Alan, who was in New York, everyone came into the studio, which was a huge gift in and of itself. And I would get to go to the studio, and while it was very COVID safe because they were in the booth and I was on the other side of the glass, and to get the performances, I don't know if you can tell I'm very performative as I am a human, but I would literally act opposite them for scenes, and I would try to perform the roles as best as we saw the roles going, so they could actually act off of what the scene would sound like or what the other performance would be. And we would run through entire scenes like once or twice. And then we would run through entire pages like 5 to 15 times. And then we would do
lots of temperature readings.
One line at a time. Well, and that was the thing with Allie. Like, so recording mine, Allie didn't have to really work off of anyone because she's not necessarily feeding off of the energy she's talking to, except for a few lines where in those moments where we're like, maybe Allie can have this, how does she react with emotion, right? So I would then at that point, like Chris would play me, the director's side of me on the other side of the glass, and he would act opposite me so that I could have something to play off of. But usually also, for Allie, we just did like one line at a time and tried to get it right.
But also, just to add to the complications of what we were doing at the height of our recording, only one of us was allowed to actually be in the recording studio. So without question, that was Jenny, because she's an actress. She knows what she's doing to get the performances out of people. But I would actually have to watch on Zoom. And then after however many takes, it'd be like, Chris, are you good? Do you want any more takes? And I could chime in then and be like, yeah. So it was very much like it was a wonderful baton passing thing of like, hey, I've made the script, and now Jenny, can you please bring it to life with the people? And then we'll go back into post and make it work from there.
Yeah, so we kind of say, because we both directed the show, I took the lead in directing performances, and then Chris would come in at the end, like say, here's what I think is missing. And then Chris would take the lead in post and try to get our sound design to a place where I wouldn't panic about it. And then I would come in and start giving my feedback. I panic a lot.
Just to explain, like, just to explain away the panic. CJ, our sound designer, is incredible, and he knows how to do 6 million things. And the way that he likes to work is presenting you 6 million things, and then saying, what do you like about this that we can hone in? It's like it's more of a sculpture than you build it down rather than building it up. So with that, like, Jenny would often hear like the ship would be like, and it was like, no. What we need to hear from the ship in this one part is this thing. We need to hear the broken fan. That's the important part.
Did I just hear a monster, or is this just in my own memory?
Yeah, where did that come from?
No, it's me. I'm sorry. Are you okay? Are you okay, Aaliyah? God. Where I don't have AC, I have to have all of these windows open, and it's like.
Did you have Chipotle or something? Or?
I was gonna say, it's really good timing for Chris talking about the ship going.
Yeah, that was amazing.
It sounded like a spaceship going by.
We couldn't have written that any better. That was just perfect.
True.
You're welcome. I just pause for dramatic effect, I guess.
What was cool though about working, I'm sorry if I'm jumping the gun on this one.
No,
what was cool about working with CJ on those terms is I was also composing the music for it, the score for the show.
Oh, cool.
So we actually got to coordinate sometimes and be like, the sound design is more important here, or we got to say, hey, the music is more important for the scene, so let's pull back the ambience. And sometimes he would have the ship just having a tone underneath, and I would be like, hey, can you pull that up a half step, because I accidentally wrote this thing in F and it sounds like the whole ship is like
it's
dissonant with itself. and so like getting to do that meant that the sound and the music could really, really connect on a deeper level than it usually can.
That's neat.
Now,
That's
where
something
did you guys
that you
record this?
I think you were alluding to him earlier, but we recorded this at Shane Salk Productions in North Hollywood.
That's what I thought.
Shane Salk.
Shane was on our show earlier in the season. We talked another great audio drama that I absolutely love is Car Serum.
Yes. Sounds familiar. Shane Salk.
He's very
He's
tall.
a trip. Yeah.
Trying to think.
Maybe I don't know if you could tell when he was in these little boxes with you, but he's very tall.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So excuse me. So he has the studios there. That's where you guys would bring in the different actors or whatever, and stuff. That's pretty cool. So what? And I loved learning about that process too, because it sounds like they would just record all the audio there, and then you just all those files go to
CJ.
What is CJ?
No,
right?
Well, there's a few more steps before that. So we record all the audio. We recorded out of order because casting took forever, like I said. So like we would record the actors we had, but sometimes we were still casting. Like Helen was the last role we cast. So all of these scenes that had Margaret in them, we were just like, okay, let's start editing and hope that we can like fit her in.
Wow.
But so yeah, we would record. Shane would upload it to, I can't remember what the thing. He's got a big database of where
something in the cloud.
It was an FTP site hidden on some website.
Oh, nice. FTP.
Yeah. So we would, as we went and as scenes started to have all of their recordings done, then we would download the audio. I would, like a crazy person, edit the dialogue obsessively, because I don't know how to separate directing performance from like picking the takes. So I would have, listened to everything 9 million times again and try to figure out like what syllable is better than the other syllable. And like, oh God, it was not a fast process for us. And then when I would finish the dialogue edit, I'd send it to Chris, who would do his review and see if he had any thoughts or feelings about it. And then once we finished the dialogue, we would ship it off to CJ to start doing his CJ thing with it, while Chris would simultaneously compose.
It was I would simultaneously compose. Also, just to give her a shout out, CJ did have an assistant, Allison Ng, who her job was actually to recompile all of the things into a Pro Tools format, because we were using Logic Pro and he was using Pro Tools. So she would reformat things, and she would also put in the initial like markers of this sound happens here, this sound happens here, so that CJ could identify like, oh, there has to be a blip there for something.
Our team was small but mighty.
So it was very small but very mighty.
No, it sounds like it. Yeah,
sounds it for sure.
And I always wonder about like the sound effects and things like that, like because again, it's very like, I mean, it sounds like you're in this spaceship, like you feel like you're in the story. And like, do you know if CJ just has billions of sound effects, or did you have to create any new sound effects to kind of fit things that were happening?
Combo.
Yeah.
He had a lot, because he had been dedicating more and more time to doing audio dramas. So he had a lot, and he'd been really anxious to do a science fiction project. So this came up for him at just the right time. But one of the things that we actually just learned last week is that you've heard it in episode 4, Jeff, since you had listened through episode 5, you said they go on a spacewalk and you're actually inside one of the characters' helmets.
The helmet?
And in doing that, we didn't know that he did this, but what he actually did is he set up a microphone and a speaker inside of a cheese puff.
Oh, he recreated,
and he would play the audio out and re-record it, so it would have that tinny, helmet sound.
Oh, that's so great.
Which we didn't know at the time, but now putting it together, that's why every time we came back and we're like, can we adjust this? He would get a little weird.
Because you'd have to go back and re-record it.
It's like, I already threw away the cheese bomb.
Yeah,
thing.
I have to get a different.
I got to get a whole nother jar of cheese balls just to re-record this.
They only sell it in certain sizes.
It was so fascinating hearing him talk about it, though, like creating the sounds. Because the one that actually blew my mind is on that same spacewalk. Like they say, like, please confirm you're tethered in, and you hear this like gunk, gunk, and there's like people like confirming they're tethered to the ship, right? And he goes, "Yeah, that was a microphone inside of my dryer." So now, if you go back and you listen, you can literally just
you can hear it.
Oh, it is straight up a dryer. Like at the time, I was like, "That's perfect." I wonder how he found that sound.
That's so cool.
I love that, because I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen these videos where people are recording Foley for movies and stuff.
Oh yeah,
those fascinate the heck out of me. I mean, I just love watching that stuff. So I love hearing these kinds of behind the scenes types of things. So tell me a little bit about it's very everything that's happening. Science fiction, first of all, is just, in my opinion, would be very hard to write, right? Because it's like there's lots of very smart things happening, and I'm not smart enough to know that the ship needs to do all these things, and what happens if this doesn't work on the ship? Does it do this over here? So tell me a little bit about how that story came together, because it is very complicated.
Lots of technical stuff.
Yeah, complicated technical problems that they're going through. So what kind of like influence did you have for that?
So I think he's watching this stream. I'm very lucky that I have a scientific father. Not only does he work in the field of science, but he actually is a huge science fiction fan.
Nice.
So a lot of times in the early days, he's actually an oceanographer, but he's done experiments with the Navy. And so like initially questions about the thermonuclear reactor that was on the ship, I was like, hey Dad, can we have a talk? And we talked for like 2 hours this one Friday night, where he was like, this is how a reactor works, and it does these kinds of things. And I was like, is it believable if someone has to do this to the reactor? And he was like, well, no, not in reality, but like I would buy that. And as soon as I would hear I'd buy that, I was like, oh, we're good to go.
Good enough.
It's good enough. Believable enough. The stuff in the show, and it comes into a bigger forefront in episode 5 when you hear the Waymaker experiment. If anyone hasn't heard that yet, it's a big moment where you learn a little bit about Simtech. But in that one, when I realized that the show had a whole quantum component, I had to do fast teaching myself internet research. Because I don't have a quantum physicist in my
relative. Right?
That's right. And so like I bought some books. I think I still have them up here. If I don't drop them, there goes one book. But like I bought
That's
different
Gravity.
books. It's Gravity. Different books about Sean Carroll is the person, and tried to like speed read them. I was watching a whole bunch of YouTube experiments, and the best thing I found about quantum physics is, as weird as it is, it's 10 times weirder than anything I was coming up with myself. It's one of these things that it's not like a magic bullet where you can explain everything away, but it's just like, wait, that happens? That's weird. Wait, that's weird. And so that's where that whole part of that show came in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like to think that
a lot of sun research as well.
I'm so sensitive to like plot holes and poorly done stories and things like that, where why did they just not like try to explain that, or why did you? So I feel like my superpower in this is every time Chris would come with a scene, I would ask a question about like every single little thing. Can you explain this to me again? Can you explain this to me again? I don't understand this. Why is this happening?
You just reverse the polarity. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
So I think it got a lot stronger because I wouldn't shut up. So I'm sorry, Chris, but also you're welcome.
That's awesome. So, so tell us a little bit. I want to get into a little bit of each of your kind of backgrounds, where this kind of started for you. And I know you both now, or at least work for this production, work for Kurtco Media.
Yeah, not just for this production. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me a little bit. We'll start with you, Jenny. Tell us a little bit about your background and kind of like how you got into acting and everything that's happened since you were born till right now. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say,
if there's anything before you were born, you can include that too.
Talking about meandering, I can really talk about this for a while. So I was born on a dark November evening. Acting. Okay. The quickest way to say I became an actor is I went to Cal Arts, and I'm glad that I'm going first because my story is a lot like Chris's because he also went to Cal Arts. Also, we both are at the Speakeasy Society, so I'm gonna just.
Although we didn't know each other when we were at Cal Arts.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I went to Cal Arts for acting. Prior to that, I was in a liberal arts school, kind of doing whatever the hell I wanted. I was making up my own major and calling it Human Behavior and the Arts in the 21st Century so that I could take whatever freaking class I wanted.
That sounds fantastic.
It's a great title.
not really a degree that would get you a job. Not that acting is, but
What's that acronym? HB.
So after a summer interning in New York, I decided I wanted to pursue acting, and I would actually dedicate myself to my studies. And I went to Cal Arts, and it changed my life because it changed the way I think about creativity and the way I think about playing and the way I think about pursuing things that I am passionate about, because I was kind of floating and lost before then. And when I graduated Cal Arts, again, I as many graduates are, I was floating and lost, but also knew what I enjoyed doing. So I pursued acting. I pursued anything in production. I did a lot of work in the digital world. I've worked in animation. I've worked in casting. I've just name it on set. I've probably tried my hand at it at least once. And I did about a decade of production work and freelance work. And then Kurtco, full disclosure, is a family business. So for 30 years, it was a magazine publishing company, and a very successful magazine publishing company, and probably could have been, but people stopped reading magazines. So
yeah.
So they had to figure out how to pivot. And my father, who is the CEO, kept coming back to podcasts because he found it interesting how people were voraciously consuming both entertainment and information and there's so many different ways to create in the world of podcasting. So he kept coming back to that. And when he decided to move his company in that direction, I, who had been avoiding the family business for my entire life, suddenly had something valuable to offer because I was the only one with production experience.
Wow.
So I started showing up and helping out, and quickly that became a full-time job because it was a small company and they needed the help. And so it was beneficial because then the pandemic hit, and suddenly being in podcasting during the pandemic was a huge gift because we could keep making things remotely when everybody else was shut down. So I, like I said, I can meander on this for hours, but like I never expected to be in audio, but I found myself quickly enjoying the various ways you can tell stories in it. I had a interview show where I'm talking to filmmakers and talent, and I had another show where people would contribute their own pieces of creativity, like poems and songs and whatever, and it was just kind of a platform for people to be creative. And then we were working on an improv show called When Last I Left that Chris and I did together. And so it was always just like, what various things can we explore and what can we push the boundaries of? And so solar was that to the nth degree, basically. And now I'm here.
Wow, that's awesome. See, you did it. You got
podcast.
What a journey.
I ate a lot of avocados along the way.
Hey, avocados is what saved most of my friends from getting COVID.
Oh.
I don't know. I want to hear more about that.
Did they stack them in the doors and windows to keep COVID out, or what?
It was purely consumption. It was purely consumption. Yeah. Ate a lot of avocados, and when I got COVID, it was a gift basket full of avocados. So.
a bunch of avocado, a basket full of avocado. Does guacamole count?
Our show's about to get flagged with a news
misinformation.
It has not been supported by the medical association. I just want to make sure we do that. But
disclaimer.
Yeah, it is. It's just an inside joke for all that are listening.
Yeah.
Inside
right.
silly joke.
But guacamole counts, right?
Yes. Yeah, guacamole definitely counts.
Saves lives, for sure.
Avocados do save lives.
So, Chris, your journey was similar, but obviously music seemed to be your focus. Tell us a little bit about that.
I definitely was always interested in writing along with music composition, and to the point where in my undergrad, which was at BW, and I just found out a little bit earlier that you guys are in Cleveland. So shout out to Cleveland if anyone is listening from Cleveland. Berea, Ohio. I have so many stories about Berea. It's a wonderful little town.
Literally live right on Brook Park.
Oh, nice. Random story. They had a July 4th historic house tour that they went on, like to go through the town and look at all the houses that were over 100 years. And I was like, I'm absolutely going to do that. And we did that. And we stopped at this one house, and this woman in the back of our bus goes, "That's my house." And I thought that was a wonderful story of what an actual small town is like.
That's hilarious.
So I started out doing music composition, minored in creative writing at BW. I then went to CalArts and did my MFA in just music composition. But there at CalArts, they have a very, very strong animation department. And so they always have, their final presentations at the end of the year where all the animators presents their films, and they always need music and they always need sound. And so I started doing music for some of them, and then I started saying like, "Hey, can I also do the sound for some of them?" And they were like, "Yeah, you can do that." And some of them were very willing to let me try to blend the music and the sound design, where like instead of a different box with the piano notes and things like that.
I think we're losing Chris's audio.
Yeah.
Are you guys?
Oh, we're losing me?
Chris, you're underwater.
There, he came back a little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
I did not do anything.
Swim.
Get out of the cheese
back.
container.
Get out of where did you lose me?
They needed a lot of music.
They needed a lot of music and they needed a lot of sound. So I started offering to do both, and some of them would let me actually combine them. So instead of a ticking clock, it would be a piano, repeating note and stuff like that. So I got to kind of learn firsthand through there. And it was around then that one of our close friends, Julianne Just, was doing her thesis theater production, and she was like, "Would you want to do the music for it?" And I was like, "Yes, I would." We got along swimmingly. We've been close friends ever since, and she founded the Speakeasy Society, which is the immersive theater group. And she invited me to come and see a test production. And I was like, dear God, immersive theater is a new passion of mine. I had not seen any. If anyone doesn't know what immersive theater is, it's basically theater that does not have a fourth wall. And that doesn't mean that they're like, hey, look, you're wearing a tie. It means like they'll talk to you like you're a character. And they'll guide you around and make it clear what you're allowed to do and what you're not supposed to do. I just was so taken with the art form and being a part of the story that I was like, I want to do more of this. That year they did an immersive version of Christmas Carol, and they let me do the music for it. The following year they were remounting it, and they started saying like, hey, if you're interested in this, would you want to write like a scene for us? And I was like, yes, I would. And then they'd be like, great, do you want to write another scene for us? Do you want to write another scene? And it was after that they invited me to come work with the company more extensively, and I got to be one of the lead writers from them. That's where I really developed my chops writing these experiences, these one-on-one experiences that I think you'll hear in the show when these people have these quiet moments of talking and leaving messages for people back on Earth. That's where that experience really paid off. But in doing these shows, we did a show called The Johnny Cycle, wherein Jenny was, she played the mother figure, the mother of this character, Johnny. And it's a very emotional show about a World War I soldier who loses all of his limbs, his face, his ears. So he only exists inside of his mind, and he's desperately trying to reach out and tell the nurses that he's alive.
It's wonderfully horrifying. Yeah, it's
the book is insane. It's by Dalton Trumbo, who wrote Spartacus. That was the one. But we decided let's do an immersive show of that, and let's cast the audience as Johnny, the guy who has nothing. So all of the actors are his memories and his imaginations fleeting around telling him what to do. So Jenny played his mother in the show. And the way that the show would work is I would have to hide in different parts of the building while she was in other parts performing. But we always ended up stuck at the end of the show where she has this absolutely gut-wrenching monologue. And I'd be down the hall and I could just hear her echoing down the hall. And it was
in a mausoleum.
Oh, in a mausoleum. I missed the line.
Yeah.
In an actual working mausoleum with marble hallways and stuff like that.
Wow.
That is where Jenny and I's close working relationship developed from that.
Yeah, it was
in a mausoleum.
In a mausoleum. You know, as you
start with death and work backwards.
That's right.
As it happens.
That's right. But then that's when I started, being interested, looking for other, because at the time I was actually working in a financial aid department at a university, and I was looking to get a job related to what I actually do. And that's when I mentioned to Jenny, I was like, if you need a sound editor, I can do that stuff. And she was like, we should talk about that. And that's how I got wrapped into crypto.
I love that that's Chris's story of it, because long before he came to me, he was already in consideration. Like we were going to try to poach him no matter what, because he's freaking brilliant. Don't tell him. He's going to get a huge head.
Thank you, Jenny.
Secret safe with us.
I desperately want to go to an immersive theater experience.
That sounds fantastic.
So you're involved in the theater around here. Do they have anything like that here that you know of? Are you?
So the closest thing that I can think of is there are a couple of companies that do kind of an improv immersive thing for the Cuyahoga Valley Railroad. Every year they do kind of a Polar Express thing and a murder mystery event, and a murder mystery train where you can buy tickets, and as a ticket holder, you're sitting there as a passenger on the train, and the actors are playing the characters, and they're trying to solve a murder mystery while you're taking a lovely scenic railway ride from Cuyahoga Falls. And I from what I understand, none of the ticket holders die. But there is somebody dead. But there is somebody dead on the train. So
well, everybody did it if it was on a train.
Yeah.
That's how I figure. That's what I know about.
And I think,
train murders.
kudos to because improv, and in my opinion, is probably one of the most difficult things to excel at. I mean, anybody can do improv, but to do it well and to stay in character when you're dealing with who knows what audience members you're going to get and how they react and this, that, and the other. So.
Oh yeah, people are weird.
Yeah, people
are really weird.
People are weird. Like, always expect the unexpected because it's. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, imagine people will try to mess it. Do people are people jerks? Like they're hecklers? Like in a.
Yes and no. Like for our show, at least for our shows, we do have a reputation for being like, we're very serious about our art that you can come play in. So we don't have people like showing up and being like, let me try and ruin this for you and everybody in it. But there are definitely people, you know, we did a show. I don't know if this is something we're supposed to talk about, but we did a show and someone definitely came and was like real messed up on some drugs. And she was having the best time. Cause like in immersive, we would touch each other. Like we would hold hands or would touch. Sure. And she was just all about like touching our face and like rubbing our shoulder. And we had to be like, okay, lady, you can go sit over there now.
Oh Lord.
Amazing.
I was at a show here in Cleveland where there was a woman who was so drunk she thought it was immersive theater. We were in the front row. We went to see Misery at the Hannah Theater downtown, the Great Lakes Theater Company, awesome theater company by the way. And they it's a very intimate theater. It's really awesome to go. Like it's not huge. Everywhere you sit, and they often will have people come from behind you. You know what I mean, onto the stage and things because it's not huge. It's not a huge stage. But anyway, it was Misery, which
was it that bad? Really, Jeff? Was it that bad?
Yeah.
It kind of was with this lady. In fact, I told them about it, like the Hannah Theater. I told them about this lady and this experience. And I wrote an email mostly to thank the performers because they were so great. Like it was really well done. And I was like, I don't know how they managed to keep, in character when this lady is talking to them. You know what I mean? Like they ignored her, obviously. And I was like, I felt so bad for them. And I just want you guys to know how awesome it was despite that. And they gave me free tickets to another show. So I went to see Macbeth.
I want to step on it's not a soapbox, but I do want to say something. You writing an email or writing a letter to people who have made something to tell them you appreciate it and support it is so wonderful because people don't do that. People go home and they tell their loved ones how amazing this experience was. And no one goes back to the like performers or creators or whatever to be like, hey, I really enjoyed that. So then I don't know, I'm having a lot of existential creative crises lately. So like, I just want to say like, that's really wonderful that you do that. And I encourage everybody to like, tell people when you enjoy their work.
Yeah. Well, this lady, we were right in the front row because my wife and I, it's funny, but our very first date was to go see Misery in the theater. So Stephen King's Misery. So, and it's almost 30 years of, and it's
30 years of
Misery.
What?
Yes, kidding. But no, on our anniversary, I was like, oh my gosh, they're doing Misery live. We have to go see this. And so we did. But literally we were in the front row and this lady and her guy were right next to us. I don't want to go too far into it, but he's obviously a very wealthy older gentleman. She was younger, not super young. I mean, it wasn't like she was like, college. She was probably just maybe 10 years younger than us. But she was so drunk and she was all over him. And we're just like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And then something would happen on the stage and she would yell out to them stuff. And that's why I was like, I want you guys to know it was a great show.
Did a great job.
I'm sorry that this lady ruined it. Please know that we appreciate what you do. I just felt so bad. I was just like, this is, and I wanted them to know that these people are, like somebody should have probably come and
said something.
They should have been an usher.
Yeah, for sure.
It was, but you got email back saying, oh, they're characters in the show.
Yeah. I'm like, I know Misery pretty well.
I don't remember the drunk lady.
Yeah. No, it was, but yeah, no. But I would love to find some immersive theater and do that.
Yes.
Definitely. There is a newsletter that you can sign up for called No Proscenium. And it's based out of LA, so it's mostly LA stuff, but they do try to give national coverage to immersive theater.
Just come visit LA,
Also,
that would be fun. Yeah,
that's also an option.
Can I sleep on your couch?
Yeah, it's over there. It's right there. This big gray couch.
I'll call up Shane. Maybe Shane will let us sleep on his couch.
He's got a whole studio. There's like 6 couches in there.
There we go.
There we go.
Right.
I almost went to LA this weekend for a concert.
What concert?
A K-pop group, Twice. They're over at the Bank of California Stadium. First girl K-pop group to have a stadium concert in the U.S.
Wow.
Scheduling, money.
Oh, money.
He did just see them like a month ago or whatever.
I did see them in February in Fort Worth. I took my daughter because she was a big fan. So.
And this time he wasn't going to take his daughter.
Sure.
Yeah. This time was just going to be me.
Oh my gosh. Well, excuse me. So we do have a comment from Shelly in the audience, Jenny, to you, just commenting on a live stream to say I'm totally grooving on your portrayal of Ali Count. So you're getting some love there.
Shelly, you're literally going to make me cry.
That's so sweet.
It does count.
Yeah,
that's very sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. So I feel like I could keep talking to you guys all night. I would love to really dig into like some of the, the technical details, especially since we're going to try to do our own audio thing. It will not be binaural with Dolby Atmos, and it'll be us through Zoom and like just as simple as I could possibly make it.
We're handing out tin cans and fishing line to people.
And make for a cool show.
There you go. Shelly says mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Love it.
Yeah. But obviously I want to be respectful of your time and the people who listen. We try to keep it to an hour and a half or so. But so let's just, before we do go, I do want to ask a little bit about if there's any I guess what's next. You know what I mean? Like obviously you've got a few more episodes of Solar. Maybe you can't answer this question, like, is there another season? Like, will it keep going or the story ends? Like, you might not be able to say because we have to wait and see what happens in the 12th episode. But beyond that, like, what else do you guys have coming up the pipe?
The line that we usually. Oh, sorry. Do you want to go, Jenny?
You can. I know we're both going to say the same thing.
Say the same line. There's a lot of stories in the world of Solar that we would love to be able to tell and share, and that's
nice.
As much as
I like that. Yeah.
Looking forward to Son of Solar.
Bride of Solar. The return of Ali.
We actually did have this joke that I think should be very serious, but we want to do just a drunk Ali version of the entire show, and we'll have Ali perform every role, but be hammered.
Yes, please.
And we won't change any of the other audio.
I was going to say, don't change anything else. It's just Ali that's drunk. Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Yes. Now, would you do that method, Jenny? Is that how you?
Oh yeah, would that be method?
I think that's the good way to go. I think
that's the most authentic, right?
Go all the way there. Yeah.
Yes.
You heard it here first, folks.
Can it also be visual? Will there be like bloopers? Or...
We need at least a behind the scenes video.
For the
maybe we'll live stream it here with you guys. So like a special Monday night show, and we'll just do a drunk alley rendition.
Let's do it. Let's do it. No,
I'm all in. Totally I'm all in drunk alley.
So I would also be drinking with you, but I won't be a heckler like that lady.
Well, no, we could. Yeah, we'd have a whole different. We'd have misery all over again. I mean, the audience should be sober for most of it. I think that should be a rule. I feel like get drunk after. You go out after the play and then get.
Every time Allie does a temperature check, take a shot.
Yeah. Oh God.
That would be dangerous.
It's a very risky little game.
Alcohol poisoning. So they can pretty much hear this anywhere you listen to audiobooks or audio dramas, right?
Podcasts,
Spotify.
Yeah, everywhere you listen to
Apple.
podcasts. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on TuneIn, we're on Samsung Free, we're on Pocket Casts, we're on Podbean,
iHeartRadio,
Google Podcasts,
Stitcher.
And Stitcher, yes. We love all of them because they're all good to us. So just thank you to every single platform that exists in the entire world. But yeah,
I will.
Google
I will-
Podcasts. Should
Oh, no,
I say
Google-
about the Google Podcast thing?
I don't know
Before
what
we
the
released
Google
our show,
Podcast
we accidentally did something where we
Oh.
released our entire show on Google Podcasts.
I didn't know you were going to say that.
I just figured tell the people. It was a big mistake that Chris caught like before we went live and started telling people that the show was out. So like I think we were just dropping our trailer and Chris was like, the whole show is out. The whole show is out on Google. Fix it.
Did you get it back?
We got it back, and luckily,
How many people?
like, nobody had heard. Well, the magical thing about picking a really unique name like Solar is that there's too many things out there called Solar. So since we hadn't started promoting it yet, there was no way someone was gonna just like stumble
binge the
upon
whole
it.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got very lucky, but we did have to talk about like, what if people had suddenly been listening and we had to be like, woo, surprise binge release of this show that we've put 2.5 years into.
Oh my gosh. That's great.
I was just going to shamelessly promote that there is an Apple subscription available on Apple Podcasts. Where there are no ads, and also we do behind the scenes interviews. So if you enjoy us talking about the cheese ball, like we have a whole episode just talking with CJ, just literally picking apart little scenes and sounds, like how did we arrive at this? How did we arrive at that? We do one, with a couple of the actors. We do one just about Ali and what our thinking was. We did one that was all about the music and how I went about creating it. I will say that if you have a subscription, you will get an additional scene. It's not vital for you to understand, but it is a whole big piece in the puzzle.
That's the first time we've told anyone that. So that's like big news.
Right.
Wow.
No, we say it's more story. We just haven't given them more story yet. We're going to give you a little bit more story.
Yeah, and I know that Apple introduced that recently, the subscription option that will
it's
allow
brand new,
you to
relatively
do
new. Yeah.
More. It's almost like built-in Patreon kind of situation, right? Where you can get like behind the scenes stuff. I'll have to check it out.
It's interesting. Like people are some companies are doing it for like across their whole company. You can have a subscription to their whole catalog. And ours is just our show because our other shows aren't really the same as Solar. So I don't feel like people want bonus politics as well as like bonus Solar.
Not quite in the Solar world.
Not the same audience. I mean, maybe, who knows? People need to like escape the world after talking about politics. But
yes,
yes,
that's correct.
Yeah, not the other way around.
No, we don't know. I need to escape this really awesome science fiction thing. Let's talk about politics.
What terrible thing is going on in the world today?
Oh, Supreme Court. Oh
God. We got to end this on a happy note.
Right? So, tell everybody where they can find more information. Like, how can they find you guys? Twitter, Instagram, all that, like individually and then as the show.
You can find the show at Solar the Podcast on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. You can find me at the Jenny Curtis on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. I don't really use Facebook. I don't really use Twitter either. Find me on Instagram. That's my favorite.
That's kind of where we're leaning that direction.
Yeah, we're kind of in Instagram.
My Twitter bio is literally just like bad at Twitter. That's what I said. I don't know.
I think that's my bio,
sometimes I remember.
too.
I recently started the understanding Reddit. I spent, however many decades not playing on Reddit, and suddenly I was like, "Oh, Reddit's actually really fun. I kind of like it."
Reddit can be entertaining for sure,
and terrifying. A little of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Yes, this is true.
And Chris, would you like to speak for yourself?
Chris Porter on Facebook. If you do that, don't share anything that useful on Facebook. Just funny stories about myself being an idiot. On Instagram, I am Coaster02, and that's COASTER, the numeral 0 and the numeral 2. And on Twitter, I am Magnificent Beast with all of the vowels removed from the word magnificent, because Coaster02 and Chris are very common names, and I did not get them.
So you decided to go Magnificent Beast. Did I pronounce that right?
You did. Okay. You did. And just a second, what Jenny was saying earlier about you can interact with us. We're not going to be hard to reach. We had someone message us on Instagram a couple of weeks ago just saying hey, can you describe how the ship sounds? Because I'm hearing it this way, and I would really like to know what, the dimensions are. And we wrote him back just a couple sentences saying like, well, we kind of pictured it like this. And he was like, oh, that's so awesome. Thank you so much. That helps a lot. And it's like, we love that. Someone posted a whole bunch of theories on Twitter, and I was just like, it made my day.
Wow.
You gotta love that, right?
I stumbled across that thread, I think, and I had to stop because I'm like, wait, I don't think I've gotten far enough to where.
No, there's a couple spoilers in it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna wait because this seems to be getting more. And that's what I was saying about the science fiction being smarter than me, and it was just kind of like, oh wait a minute, this is going into areas I don't understand, so I'm gonna have to wait and actually read it. I'm reading a science fiction book now, the three body problem. And it has a cast of characters at the beginning, and I was looking at it. I told my wife, I'm like, some of the characters are string theorists and astrophysicists. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this book. Like, I
picked this book because why?
Yeah, I'm gonna be so lost. I don't know what they're saying, but no, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, that's what I love about sci-fi. I mean, I always feel like I learn stuff too, like new things that I didn't kind of. Science fiction is great for that, but it's also great for just kind of commenting on the human condition, you know what I mean? And what, because it's so, you can really just kind of, like in Solar, like, what do people do? Like, this is like the worst possible situation, you know what I mean? And plus the Earth is probably in danger too. Like, what is going on? And I just love being able to examine that.
And not to bring the conversation back down, but one of the things that I did research was trauma recovery, with the idea that like, these people have been through a trauma, and like, how do we deal with that? And that is the part of the human element that really excites me about stories.
Yeah. And I can't recommend it enough. If you're not listening to it, check it out. It's really good. And like I said, and it is great with headphones. I do a lot of listening while I'm working, so I don't have my headphones on. And then they come on and remind me every time to get my headphones on. I'm like, all right, I'll listen to this one.
We thought about not having that message on everyone. We were like, we just need it a couple times. And then by the end of it, we're like, let's just leave it. Let's remind people to listen on headphones.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's good.
It does make a difference.
But it does definitely
makes
add
a
to
difference.
The experience for sure.
Yeah.
In the audio, plus you want to give. I mean, you got to hear that awesome audio design. They worked really hard to make it sound that good. So you want to get the full experience if you can.
Yes, please.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Maybe so we only have I think 3 more episodes of our season left, and then we're taking a break. We'll be back next season. By then, Solar will be done, and maybe we'll find out what's going on and if there is something next. And we'll have you guys back because we'd love to talk to you again.
Yeah, you guys have been great.
Yeah. You guys have been great.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on my show.
Anytime. We'll come.
Thanks for having us. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So exciting piece. So Utah and Aaliyah, you guys may not realize this, but did you know that next week is our 50th episode?
Congrats.
So yeah, next Sunday will be our 50th episode.
50?
Wow.
50.
Are we gonna do a cake?
No.
We can't afford the cake. Aaliyah.
No,
that sounds like a dad no. Like
we don't have sponsors or anything like that. This is just us.
Get your own cake, Aaliyah.
Yeah, you're welcome to eat cake on the episode, but you have to provide it yourself. Bring your own cake.
That's the title. That's the title of our next episode. Bring your own cake.
I was taking a look, and there are literally there's a few missing episodes in season 1. Which is a mystery, but maybe someday I'll explain that mystery. They're not out there in the world, but there have been 50 recorded and live produced episodes that we've done.
Gotcha.
But there are a couple, like when we do the Oscar episode, I don't always we do a pre-show for the Oscars. I don't always put the audio out for that because it's very like time bound. Like, do you know what I mean? Like once that's over, it's like, who cares? Right. So that's, some of those are not out there. Who cared? Nobody cared to get it live. So why would they care later? Anyway, but
let's listen to the Oscar pre-show. Yeah.
But yeah, so
a month later.
Episodes. 50 episodes. And that's not counting the 6 that you and I did 4 years ago or something like that.
Oh, right. The original incarnation.
Yeah. We existed for about 6 episodes and just gave up. This was pre-pandemic. the pandemic came along, and then now we're on our 50th episode.
You got to release those ones as your Apple Premium content. Start
There
a
you go.
channel for your the early days.
Yeah. I don't think they're even out there. I think I still have them. But
Didn't we record them on like reel to reel or something? Or?
They were on 8-track.
8-track. We had an 8-track, 4-track. Or
yeah. I had a 2XL robot. Remember that from? I don't know. Nobody but Utah and I are old enough to know what that is. Probably.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, you usually don't. Because
that's kind of
because
I'm done. No cake.
No. It's not you. It's us. I'm saying we bring up this nostalgic stuff that nobody remembers except us. That's what I mean. It's we unfortunately leave you out when we bring that stuff out. I apologize. That was not a knock on you. It was a knock on us.
No. It was yes. What were we saying again? I forget.
Our 50th episode, we're going to have Rustbit, the video game developer Rustbit. They're going to be on the show. They have a new game called In the Grip of Madness, which is a horror game, which if you guys follow our YouTube channel, Utah and a good friend of ours from Promptly Written podcast, Matt, and I like to play horror games sometimes. You can watch us streaming and be scared about stuff.
I just laugh at Matt being jump scared. That's the best.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Yeah, Matt being jump scared is literally just
because in the grip of madness.
He just seems like this big. Well, he is like this burly man that just doesn't get scared about anything. For him to
and then he screams like a little girl.
Yeah, it's great. So you got to tune in for that. We're going to try to play it. I believe they have a demo out on Steam, so check that out.
They do.
In the Grip of Madness, Utah and Matt and I are going to try to play that on Friday night at 10 p.m. So make sure you join and subscribe to our channel so you can see that. Obviously, join us on all the socials at World Gone Geek, pretty much everywhere. Because it wasn't as popular as Coasters or Chris, so we were able to get that all over the place. I know that was it's frustrating when you're trying to get your name on things and then.
So I feel like we should get an account and take all the vowels out of World Gone Geek. Just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
Great. It vaguely looks like English, you know?
Right, it does. It's just an uncanny valley there.
I was going to say, yeah, there's some sort of like cycle. I mean, there's a thing. It's actually an actual thing where your brain does put together without the vowels and you can still read it. So I don't know. What is it called? It's called a thing. There's a meme that goes around on Facebook talking about it.
I think you're right. I think it is called the thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing.
If you're a psychologist out there who knows how that works, then write into us and we'll explain it. Again, thank you guys for being on the show. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week with Rustbit Studios talking about In the Grip of Madness. You can find us on all of the socials at World Gone Geek. That's it. Shawarma Shack Wednesday.
Shawarma Shack Wednesday.
Strange. We're gonna
and his mom.
That's right. So make sure you're there for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then we'll see you. We appreciate it. Thanks for being a part of the World Gone Geek.
Woo!
Go see